Good day, my beautiful people. How are we all doing today? Happy Sunday to you all. Today we'll be looking at something that has to do with the constant power supply that we have been witnessing in Aba. Aba City is in Abia State of Igboland today. Now, connected with this constant electricity supply that we've been seeing in the past few days are the benefits. We are going to be looking at a few of the benefits that are far-reaching. A lot of far-reaching benefits that you might not even be immediately be thinking of, but we are going to be enjoying in Igboland if this is maintained. Now, before I go ahead, looking at the current government of Abia State, we are talking about Mr. Alex Oti and also the man in charge of geometric power, that is Professor Bat Naji. Looking at the organization right now, one can see that there is a bit of coordination in what is being done. I think we can see that this is not something that is just up and down or haphazard. I think we can see that there is coordination, there is a direction to what is being done. With the coordination I can see from the Abia State government and even the owner of geometric power, Professor Bat Naji, I can see that this is something that is going to be maintained and expanded. Now, also, there is the talk of precedence. Now that it has been done and people have seen that it can be done, I'm sure that this will encourage other big investors in Igboland to be able to come up and say, yes, we want to identify with this geometric power. We want to take geometric power and build, or something like that facility, we want to take it and build somewhere else. Believe me, it's a lot of money. A lot of money was put into geometric power, but people who have the money are on ground. People who have that money are on ground. And even if those that don't have the money, those that have the connection to investors out there are also on ground. So we are looking at a situation where this will not be a one-off. Geometric power will not be a one-off. It will not be something that will just be only Aba. We are looking at a situation where hopefully a similar facility can be set up in other parts of Igboland, because believe me, geometric power is not going to be enough. We are going to need other facilities like that. I'm just hoping that it won't take too long before others start to spring up. You see, I think I can remember a facility like that years ago, something in, I can't remember if it's Okija or thereabouts in Anambra State, but that facility did not go ahead. Probably there were some issues that came up and all that. Hopefully, such people can now maybe reorganize what they were doing before and see if they can set it up like geometric power, because as far as we know, geometric power is something that the way it was set up is using gas and all that. When you generate the electricity, I think some excess electricity has to be sent back to the national grid and all that. I think that is how it is set up. If that is how it will be set up in other places, no problem. What we need is constant electricity supply across Igboland is too important. And now some of the gains and advantages is what we'll be looking at in this video. Now, I wrote on this about 3 or 4 days ago on Twitter, but I'm just making it into a video so that some of us can see the far-reaching effect of this investment now in Aba and how it's going to help Aba and Igboland in general. Now, we are talking about production and operational costs. Production and operational costs. These are costs. Like production costs now is the amount you spend in buying fuel, diesel, or even the amount you spend on paying for the electricity supply that is not constant. That is your NEPA bill. Your NEPA bill for light that is not constant. The money you spend on fuel and diesel. This is very, very expensive. All this thing adds to the production cost of items in Igboland. What am I saying? If an item is about 1,000, by the time you go back and check the cost the person spent on diesel or fuel, you might have the fact that maybe on each item the person is spending about 200 naira for. It's very possible. Fuel is very expensive now. So you might have that the person is spending about 200 naira out of that 1,000 for the cost of fuel. Now, if you remove that 200 naira, because the electricity is now constant, if you remove that 200 naira and maybe replace it with the money the person will pay for that geometric power, you might have the total cost maybe now at 850. You might be able to bring down the cost of that item from 1,000 to 850 because there's now constant supply. That is production cost. Operational cost is that generator you put on. Once you get to the office, you put your generator from morning till maybe 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening when you'll be going back home. That number of hours you spend, buying fuel to keep the generator on from morning to evening, that's operational cost. You need to spend money like this 6 days out of a week, because I know a lot of Igbo people work for 6 days, not even 5, 6 days of a week. Now, all these things add to the final cost of items, it adds to the final cost of services in Igboland, and this final cost is what we are trying to push down. And now that there's constant electricity supply, it will affect the price of these things. It will definitely affect it. Recently, I think it was just yesterday or today, there was the news report that some investors are already heading towards Aba to go and see what they can set up there. You know, you can't blame investors. Investors need a conducive environment for investment. And one of the things that makes an environment conducive is that electricity supply. If you can assure them that there's going to be constant electricity supply, you will be able to attract so much investment. It's not rocket science, it's just economics. It's simple, it's straightforward, you see. So talking about production and operational costs, these things will be driven down by the constant electricity supply that has now been achieved. Now, we talk about increased production also. Some of the people who are producing 100 items, some who are producing 1,000, can now produce 2,000 because the electricity is now constant. Electricity is something that stops a lot of producers from producing as much as they would like to because of the cost of getting fuel and all that. But now that the electricity is constant, you now have a situation where they can now bring more, they can now bring in more facilities and produce more items. So you have an increased base of production for people who are into manufacturing and all that. So that's one of the gains of this constant electricity supply. You also have improved technology. Of course, technology is not going to run where there is no constant supply of electricity. Now that there is constant supply, you're going to have improved technology in some of those areas in Abade. You are going to have a better standard of living. Even from when you talk about better standard of living, just the fact that you can lie down under air conditioning or your fan to sleep properly, I'm telling you, is still part of standard of living, believe me. Because right now in Nigeria, the weather is very humid and very hot at the same time, so there's a lot of sweating. Once you have your constant electricity supply, if you want to sleep, you just switch on your fan and you sleep, not having to contend with heat and all those things. There is more comfortability. All those things affect standard of living. Believe me, all those things affect standard of living. Improve amenities. Some of the amenities are not working because there's no light. The government can now set up these amenities to work for you because there's no constant supply. So improved standard of living is affected in several ways that I don't even need to break down because it's a lot, but it is definitely improved. Better standard of living. You also have education. You see our little kids that cannot some cannot even read for their work properly because there's no light. Some cannot read for their JAMB properly because there's no light. You go to the tertiary level, some cannot research. A lot of the students at the tertiary level, they don't research because the tools are not available to them. Part of the tools is even constant electricity supply. They don't have supply. Some departments don't have supply. We are talking about science departments. Some don't have supply. How can you research without constant supply? You can't do your experiment, you can't do presentation, you can't do analysis and all those things without the constant electricity supply. But now that is now available. That means that the impact of the standard of education will also be impacted positively, because electricity supply has been worked on. And that is why I said, hopefully that this is something that will begin to spring up in other parts of Igboland. So it will not just be geometric power. We need a facility like this. It's just that it's so expensive. But I'm hoping that we can get it done. I'm hoping that we can get it done. So that is that for education. Also improved standard of health. The healthcare sector also will be impacted positively. A lot of times we read about news reports where this person was lost because the hospital could not attend to them properly. We've read news where the oxygen did this and the oxygen did that. All these things is part of the fact that there's no constant electricity supply. The other time, I think it was it Lagos State Teaching Hospital or thereabout. They captured a video where a big general hospital like that was in total darkness. Come on, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. We don't need those kind of things in Igboland. And so with this constant electricity supply, we can get these things done. Now, you also talk about food production, that is farming. A lot of the farmers are impacted by electricity, believe it or not. When you farm and when you get your produce, how do you store it without the electricity? A lot of time you hear all these perishable things are just wasted. You have your vegetable, tomatoes, and all those things. They will get wasted if you don't have a proper way of, of what do you call it, of preserving them. If you don't have a way of preserving them, all these your frozen foods, if you don't have constant electricity, you can't keep these things. And when you can't keep them, that's when you see farmers, begin to sell them and give away price. They've lost money just because they can't preserve it properly. A lot of these vegetables need a particular temperature before you can store them. You go to the market, you will see this market women pouring water on the vegetables to try to help the vegetable maintain some freshness. But it doesn't always work. How long will you do that before eventually it will perish? So all these things are impacted by this constant electricity supply, and we are hoping that we can go from here and go further. So that is it on that aspect. And so you have also it impacts reliance of fuel. Once you stop relying too much on the fuel, let me tell you, the price will go down by economic consideration, demand and supply and all that. When you stop demanding too much for fuel because you have power at home, you have power at your businesses, the price of that fuel will have to go down. It is natural law of economics, you see. And so this is something that we're looking to drive towards in Igboland. Stop relying on fuel for everything. Without fuel, you can't get things done. Without fuel, you can't run your business. Without fuel, you can't even move about. Less reliance of fuel is something that's going to come out from this constant electricity. Now, there has also been reports that the federal government wants to work on the Aba-Port Harcourt railway that they've overlooked all this time. Now they want to work on it. Why do they want to work on it? Because they've already calculated that there's going to be an upsurge in businesses in Aba because of the constant electricity that has been attained. Now, this also brings my mind to something. It is not the whole of Aba that has been connected. What I am reading, because I'm just trying to follow developments from the government and from geometric power and all that, it is being done such that phase by phase, some more communities are being added steadily. It's not everybody that has power supply now, but people have currently had supply for about 4 days now. Other parts are being added gradually, you see, until it expands to the 9 local governments that it should cover. So this is very good. It's showing progression gradually, and I hope for the best for them. Now, these are the things that we can expect from constant power supply, and we are hopeful that it won't be a one-off, as I said before. Other investors should please come in. I know it's a lot of money, but they should please come in, even if they have to tag others from outside the country to come in and build something like geometric power in other locations in Igboland. We need constant supply around the whole place. But I just made this video to just elucidate on some of the gains of these things, of this power supply that we now have. It is holding back a lot of things. Even it affects even security, because when you don't have lights in some areas of your communities, some boys that don't want to use their life for anything positive, they just hang there and looking for who to rob and dispossess of their things and all that. But by the time you have light there, you can even back it up with the CCTV. Since there's constant supply, you can back it up with CCTV. Within days, you pick up the boys doing that thing. They are not ghosts. They are there in the community. They are not ghosts. 2, 3, 4 days, you pick them up, and that is that. So this is something that can really impact us positively, and we're hoping for the best. We are hoping that this will continue to, go up and steady and maintain until, it can go as far as possible. So we're hopeful for the best. And I think I'll be touching other topics in other videos that I'll be uploading. Okay, thank you.